movies. It's the January man.
Funny is the iris on your camera is struggling to keep up with you, and
Story of my life. Yeah, that bad? Okay. That's
yeah,
fine.
it's a fucking strobe.
I thought so.
It's a strobe effect, which worked when you were dancing to the music, but yeah. Okay, movie. The movie we did was Calendar Guy, and
The January Man.
The January Man.
1989's The January Man.
Yeah, and it's labeled here on my wiki notes as a comedy thriller, and there was
You know what things don't go together genre-wise?
comedy
And thriller.
and thriller.
Yeah.
Even if you do have Kevin Kline.
Because they try to do, it's the wackiest, broadest comedy, and like a straightforward, we're strangling women to death thriller, and they just don't blend.
So The January Man is starring Kevin Kline, Susan Sarandon, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio.
Mastrantonio.
Okay. Harvey Keitel, Danny Aeillo, and Rod Steiger.
That's the guy.
Steiger.
Steiger?
Oh, this doesn't give me a budget.
No, I think I looked for that.
The budget must have been $300,000.
Rest assured, it was not successful, but it looks good enough to probably have a high budget.
Well, the box office was $4.5 million. I would imagine the budget for this movie was $10 million.
I'm going to say 25. Right in with the right answer. Anybody who subscribes to IMDb Pro.
Okay. So I'll admit that I'm a big Kevin Kline fan.
Me too.
I
Ditto.
fucking even like what the fuck was that movie called?
French Kiss.
The Wild Wild West.
Oh.
The only reason I'll still watch that is because of Kevin Kline.
I don't
Kenneth
like
Branagh.
any place where Kevin Kline isn't at least somewhat suave.
Yeah,
And
or
he ain't suave in that movie.
doesn't have the mustache.
It is weird seeing him without the mustache. He needs a mustache to offset that nose. If you stare at it long enough, it's a weird nose.
Yeah,
But you got that problem too.
yeah. That's why I keep the beard around.
Yeah, I mean, totally.
Gotta have something.
See, at least you don't have the problem I have. I'm afraid if I shave my facial hair now, it like shrinks my face or inflates my head. I'm not really sure what the problem is, but all of a sudden I suffer from tiny face. So keeping this shit for the rest of my life. Anyway, back to the movie. So this was written by John Patrick Shanley, I want to say, who had just come off Moonstruck,
Okay.
which is, I don't know if you've ever seen Moonstruck. Are you aware of Moonstruck? It's a good movie.
Okay.
But anyway, it was really it was super fucking successful. So that's why the cast is so stacked in this.
Oh, okay.
Like they probably weren't even really looking at the script. They were like, "Oh, that Shanley guy, he won Oscars. Let's work with him."
And that. What the fuck was this movie?
A mess. You can tell just by the Wikipedia page's one sheet that they have, like the cover for this movie,
yeah.
because it just screams like wacky family comedy.
Right.
Aside from him holding a gun, I think. Does
Yeah.
he hold a gun?
No, he's holding a badge.
Right.
He doesn't even have a gun.
Wacky family comedy. It looks like Cop and a Half, which is not what this fucking movie is.
Like the poster for Kindergarten Cop is what it looks like. Or,
And if you brought your kids to this movie, like, I don't know where you get, where your first hint is that, like, I don't know if it's at the point where Rod Steiger's yelling at Harvey Keitel, or if it takes longer and it's the first shot of nude breasts. There's a couple of those in this movie.
This movie was This was a.
It's an oddity. It's the
Yeah,
strangest
it's-
fucking movie. That's
Harvey
why I
Keitel
suggested it.
looks pissed throughout the whole movie. Like, he signed up for a different movie, and he realized halfway through shooting, he's like, why the fuck am I here?
That's what this movie. It's like 3 different movies, like mushed together, and like the only constant performers are Kevin Kline and Mary Elizabeth Mastronio.
Yeah, and like Susan Sarandon, she cares about the movie because she hasn't done anything of note. I don't
She's
think at
also
this
not
point,
in
like,
this
she's
movie
just-
a whole bunch.
Yeah. And
She's not done anything of note by 1989.
No, I mean, this wasn't 89. Oh, it was 89.
Yeah,
Holy
1989.
fuck! This movie looks like it was like 82.
My theory is that this was supposed to be Kevin Kline's like. I think he's coming off the back of A Fish Called Wanda, where he won an Oscar. So this is like his push to be a leading man, semi-seriously.
Yeah.
That didn't work out.
Oh, I forgot. Holy shit! I listed all the actors, and we forgot the least important one. Alan Rickman's in it.
Yeah, you forgot Alan Rickman,
Yeah.
who's not in this movie either.
He.
He has like 6 lines
Yeah.
and 4 scenes.
Yeah. And I don't even think he cared about this movie.
No, but he really wasn't anybody at this point, though.
No, he was just a bad guy.
Like,
from
he was
Die
somebody
Hard.
in England, and he
Yeah.
was the bad guy from Die Hard.
And
And
that's
that was
it.
about it.
And people saw this movie and were like, holy shit, he's not German. And that's probably all they took away from Alan Rickman in this movie.
I just need this paycheck so I can go make Robin Hood.
Yeah. Holy shit, this movie was all over the place.
They did get one thing right. I know we've discussed this personal pet peeve of mine and yours. This movie was released in January. So it's set during the holiday season. It's cold in the movie. It's cold in real life. Nice. We need that. Synchronicity.
No, that's the police.
Yeah, Kevin Kline's a police. But first he's a fireman.
Yeah, I don't know how you get that career change. Like, you're fired from the force. I guess I'll become a firefighter.
I gotta imagine that's not probably not as unusual as we're thinking it is.
Maybe.
Like, you know,
Well, because now you have to fucking go to school to be either
well,
one.
that's true.
You have to go to school for criminal justice so you can be a police officer, or you have to go to school and do firefighter 1 and firefighter 2 classes before you become a firefighter. You can't just.
Citation needed on those class titles.
That's what they are.
Firefighter 1 and Firefighter 2?
Yeah.
They got to work on that shit.
And you got to take both
They
of them.
call it fire prevention or fire safety or...
No, it's firefighter 1 and firefighter 2, and you got to take both of them to become a firefighter.
Also, super fun fact. It's not that fun. No way they would have let him have that mustache if he's a firefighter.
Oh, singed right off.
They can't wear their breathing stuff. Can't get a seal on your face if you got facial hair.
That's why Hitler has a tiny mustache.
That's right. It's often forgotten that Hitler was a firefighter before he became a dictator.
The gas masks in World War One.
Like he was anywhere. Anyway, about the movie.
So it's about a serial killer who, he fucking kills a bunch of women
With a blue ribbon.
with a blue ribbon, and at some point they figure out that it has to do with.
Oh, yeah. Tell me all the gimmicks that this guy has. He's not leaving any gimmicks for the next serial killer who comes around. It's like astronomy, prime numbers.
Yeah.
God damn it. There's one more. There's one more thing.
Oh, it's a song.
All right. Calendar Girl.
Calendar Girl, yeah. Yep. And they all get a blue ribbon.
I don't remember them explaining why it's a blue ribbon. A blue ribbon's an award you give somebody. Why
Yeah,
would he use a
yeah.
blue ribbon?
'Cause he
Oh,
sees
because
the
he's got a
fucking-
bad relationship with his mother, obviously, or some shit.
So the movie starts out at the New Year's Eve,
Yes.
and they start doing the ball because we're in New York, so they're in Times Square doing the ball drop. And then we cut to like two girls leaving a New Year's Eve party.
Wasted.
Wasted. Nowhere, like, they leave before, like, oh, we're about to do the countdown. Yeah, but we got to get going. So why did you come out for New Year's Eve? If, I don't know, why are you here? Like, you're not even staying for the count.
I mean, were they in Times Square? I thought they were coming out of a hotel. There was like some kind of party that they were attending, and they just keep cutting back and forth to Times Square in the ball drop for no reason, just because it's happening.
But if
They're not at it.
they're not in Times
It's
Square.
just happening.
Right. But if you're at a New Year's Eve party, you're there to count down for fucking New Year's.
It seemed like they were just into getting wasted on champagne.
I guess so. So they leave their party and they go home and they bug the shit out of their taxi driver.
Now, I do want to point out one thing. One of the girls is Mary Elizabeth
Bah.
and she plays the mayor's daughter in this movie.
Right.
And you don't find out she's the mayor's daughter until later, but you really think the mayor of New York's daughter is taking a taxi cab? They got a car for her.
They've got a car for her. So yeah, they have a car for the mayor's daughter, but she takes a taxi with her drunk friend, and they go back and take her home, and they are both wildly annoying, and this girl is wildly annoying, and she goes inside, and she goes up, and she is wildly annoying at her fish.
She loves them fish. She has a
And
little chat
then-
with them fish.
Everybody gets relieved as she's murdered.
Strangulated?
No longer in the movie, and we're all thrilled about it because she was wildly annoying.
I sure am.
Like, okay, well, that's the end of her.
And then we cut to a fucking montage about mayor's daughter's friend strangulated, and I mean, it's a montage of newspapers. It's just newspaper headlines all over the place. It kind of sucks. And then we cut to the mayor, Rod Steiger.
So yeah, they're trying to introduce that it wasn't a fucking random murder. Like they're setting up that there's a serial killer on the loose, and
Rod Steiger says a fun thing while he's yelling at Harvey Keitel, who is
I don't give a rusty fuck.
Rusty
Yeah.
fuck. I'm gonna start using that. I gotta start using rusty fuck. Harvey Keitel is the police commissioner.
Right.
And rusty fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rod Steiger's like, you get me Kevin Kline. I don't care if he's a firefighter. Reinstate him. He's the only guy that can do it. I don't know why he's the only guy who can do it, but he's the only guy who can do it. So then we get Harvey Keitel going out to see Kevin Kline, who is his brother also.
Yeah.
They're brothers.
Yeah. Nope.
That's a stretch.
One of them's 6'4", the other one's 5'7".
Yes. I mean, they couldn't be any different just generally.
Yeah.
And we get the most badass hero entrance, which I'm going to let you describe.
Oh.
Okay.
Well,
first, let me set the scene. He goes to the scene of an active fire.
Yeah, he goes to the scene of the active fire to find his firefighter brother, and he goes up to the chief of the police. He's like, "Hey, looking for my brother."
Fire chief.
Sorry. He goes up to him and he says, "Hey, I'm looking for my brother, such and such." But I forgot what his fucking name is. I'm looking for Kevin Kline. And the fire chief goes,
Yeah,
oh.
I don't remember any of the character names, so we're just going with actor names on this.
Oh, well, yeah, hold on, because we've got a fire going on right here. And Harvey Keitel, I don't care. I'm too busy for that. Like,
but it's going on right now.
You're too busy for this building on fire that I'm working on? I'm sorry. I'm fucking too busy. Get the fuck out of here.
Kevin Kline is a fireman right now.
Yeah.
He's my employee. He's working.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm too busy for that Can you tell me where he is? He's in the building that's on fucking
You
fire.
know you know what firemen do, right?
And so I wrote down that like all these fucking firefighters are impervious to flame because they're like, the dude like climbs up the ladder and he's like this with the fire like is right in his face and he's just like pouring a bucket of water in there or something. It's like the silliest fucking. It's like, holy shit, that's hot on your face. How the fuck?
He's expendable. I mean, they can melt their faces off all day. They're just fucking extras anyway.
I guess
As long as we
so.
have Kevin Kline, we can beat all the fires.
And so the fire chief says he's in the fucking building, and then off to the side of the building, this fucking boarded up window starts rattling. You're like, oh, get some men over there,
Yeah,
blah,
get
blah,
the
blah.
axe open that gate, and
Yeah.
so they axe open the gate.
And Kevin Kline comes flying out like fucking Superman.
Slow fucking motion right through this boarded up window.
Ragdolling the shit out of this little girl. Just
Child in his arms, wrapped in a blanket. And he leaps out slow motion, and he puts her on the ground.
No, he leaps out and does like a roll with the girl.
Does he do a roll?
He rolls with her.
I missed the roll.
He rolls with her, and he's just, because it's just a doll and not a real fucking girl, this doll is flopping all over the place. And so it's just like this firefighter ragdolls the shit out of this girl jumping out of a building and then puts her down gently. And she's like, she's out cold, and he fucking snuggles up to her like he's known her for 20 years.
Does he life-saving techniques on her? Is that necessary?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah. He doesn't do mouth to mouth.
I might get my firefighter movies confused. But anyway,
He doesn't do mouth to mouth.
he
just
saves
does
her.
chest pumps.
He saves her, and then you get like, okay, I'm into this movie where it's a little 80s action movie. There's
Sure.
dying ladies.
Yeah.
And then they get the girl, and they take her to an ambulance
Can
or whatever.
somebody get me an espresso?
And you're like, to nobody. He
To
says this to
nobody,
nobody.
yeah.
He says this to himself. He's
Yeah,
like, what is this fucking movie? Because that's not an action one-liner.
No. Kevin Kline is not an action person. Kevin Kline, I mean, not this Kevin Kline.
No Kevin Kline.
I mean, he's a little bit more of a hard ass than like a fish called Wanda and stuff. But he's also got like short hair and a leather jacket
crazy guy
and stuff,
that
and
movie.
he's 10 times bigger than everybody around him.
Well, I mean,
Everybody else is
put
just
Michael
tiny-
Palin next to anybody.
Tiny Englishman. So yeah, he gets done ragdolling this girl, and he starts off with a New York accent that comes and goes.
Yeah, it's real bad.
Is like Michael Fassbender's accent in the First Class, X-Men First Class.
You know,
where
he's
it's like,
he's okay.
where are you from?
He's okay with it when he's talking to Harvey Keitel.
Yeah.
But if he's talking to anybody else with their flat, standard American accent, it's fading. It's back. It's fading.
Yeah. So then he goes home or he talks to Harvey Keitel for a second, and it doesn't go very well, I guess, but it kind of does, but not really. And then he goes home for the day.
He's like, I'll first of all, they're brothers at odds. They hate each other.
Yeah.
We don't figure out why just now. But he's like, fine, I'll come back on one condition. And they keep on one condition. On one condition. They don't tell you what the fucking condition is. Tell me what the fucking condition is. But they don't. So they cut to another scene. And this is a completely different movie. He goes back to his apartment, and we're playing reggae music.
Yep.
And Alan Rickman is painting a naked lady stretched out on the couch.
Yep.
And it's wacky as fuck.
Yeah, and they're trying to somehow get a kitten to stay in place.
I don't know what movie this is anymore.
Nope, now it's turned into 3 Men and a Baby.
Yeah, this is like, just hire Robin Williams to play the cop. Cop fireman.
Yeah.
Oh, and a smart-ass parrot making jokes.
Yeah.
Watch your hands.
And so they talk for a minute, and Alan Rickman doesn't even live in this apartment. He lives next door, but he's using his apartment.
For the light.
Yeah.
Because he's a painter.
So
it's really stupid, and none of these jokes land. Like, it's not. None of this is funny.
Not even funny for the 80s.
It's wacky, but it's not funny.
Yeah. And so we leave this throwaway scene, and we go to another throwaway scene where Harvey Keitel shows up to talk to his wife, Susan Sarandon, at opera. What the fuck? Ballet? She's at a ballet show. Yeah, okay. And so it was late, and it was like, oh, you saw your brother? And he's like, yeah. You look flushed. Why are you so flushed? Because you saw your brother.
You're flushed.
Yeah.
Because you used to fuck my brother.
We don't know that.
I mean, it's heavily implied right here. He's like, oh, you saw Kevin Kline?
And the audience is just sitting there like, what the fuck is wrong with her?
What is this? So wait, you're married to Harvey Keitel, who's Kevin Kline's brother, and you used to fuck Kevin Kline?
Yeah. Calvin Klein.
No, that's a different podcast.
Yeah. And so she's like, okay, well, is he coming back to the thing? I was like, oh, no, he's coming back on one condition. And
what's the condition?
Yep, nope, cut to another scene.
Isn't in the scene after that where we get another scene of men yelling at each other? There's Rod Steiger and Danny Aeillo getting in a stupid argument and just yelling, but you don't give a shit at this point because, like, the story keeps stopping and starting.
Yeah.
But it's not important.
Nope, it's another throwaway scene, I guess. I mean, it kind of establishes that Kevin Kline was not the very well-respected policeman, and Danny Aiello backs down immediately from the mayor and just leaves quietly.
There was a scandal about
reason.
graft, something.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And so then we find out that the one condition was
let me fuck your wife.
Yeah, just want to make your wife a romantic
I want to make your wife
squid dinner. And
that's another thing that, like, this is another one of his things is, like, when he's occasionally wacky, one of his wacky quirks is that he makes
wild,
weird food.
Weird nonsense that is not edible to anyone ever.
No, he makes a squid and some kind of eggplant thing, and nobody's into it.
And Susan Sarandon says, this is
fucking
gross.
You always make food that I hate.
Right.
He's like, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Like, why would I want to be in a relationship with a guy who does not give a shit about even the littlest things?
Yeah.
Like, give me something edible.
So, yeah, and they get into an argument, and then he calls her a bitch, and she says, no, you are, and then she leaves.
He also says, this is an R-rated movie. But he says boff instead of fuck.
Oh, yeah.
In here?
Yeah.
Like, why? Why boff?
Because it's Kevin Kline.
Nobody says that when they're angry, though.
It's
like,
I don't know. He might. He's a weird guy.
Yeah, he's really weird and wacky and eccentric in this movie.
Well, in real life.
I think he's just a theater actor. I mean, they're weird people, but I think he's just a theater actor.
Man. I keep losing your video.
Nobody wants to see that anyway.
It's all right. So he got his rocks off by having dinner with his brother's wife, I guess.
Yeah, I'm really not sure what he was trying to accomplish with this. Like, making her food she doesn't want and then immediately getting into a fucking argument about stuff that should be water under the bridge.
So then he goes to work at the police department.
And Danny Aeillo, the captain, hates him, obviously,
for
as you would.
reason.
Because he comes in and he brings brings along with him Alan Rickman to paint the walls and his espresso machine.
To paint parrots on the wall.
And we're listening to reggae, fake reggae that sucks. And
80s reggae.
He's
like
going out
UB40.
of his way to be a dickhead in his capacity here because the mayor needs me. But he goes back and forth on this I'm a dickhead stuff, which is weird. It's like they really wanted to make a Sherlock Holmes movie and modernize it, but they didn't quite get the tone.
It's totally supposed to be a Sherlock Holmes thing. And so Kevin Kline is Sherlock Holmes, but you don't really understand that until he actually starts fucking working on the case, which takes... It's a 90-minute movie, and it takes about 60 minutes for him to start working on the case.
By which point you're tired of this movie.
So he's Sherlock Holmes, and then Alan Rickman is his Dr. Watson.
I'd say Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio is his Watson. He just happens to be fucking his own Watson.
Ugh.
Yeah. So picture that.
So he ends up banging the mayor's daughter, and then like halfway through, they're in
upon their first meeting. By the way, she's coming out of a funeral.
So they go to he starts kind of like doing some footwork on the case, and he goes to the funeral of the girl that died in the beginning of the movie, and the mayor's daughter's there, and he stares at her, and then she leaves, so he tails her for no reason, and she goes ice skating.
Yes, and we do this wacky like Blue Danube, like I can't skate, and it takes forever. Look, he's falling over, he's falling down, wacky, whoa.
This is a thriller. I just want to. This movie's supposed to be
with a wacky ice skating scene that lasts at least 2 minutes.
A thriller. We've had about 90 seconds of thriller in the beginning of the movie when the girl gets murdered, and then 45 minutes of 80s goofiness.
Yeah.
Which we're in the throes of right now. And so she's like, hey, I saw you ice skating over here. Are you fucking following me? And he's like, yeah, I am. Like, oh, okay.
Saw you at the funeral.
Yeah.
Let me interrogate you in a coffee shop.
Let's go get a hot chocolate. So they go and do that, and
she starts getting all weepy because obviously like her best friend just got murdered and she's just coming out of the funeral. It's a good time to be weepy.
We could all die tomorrow, so I just figured, fuck it, I'll go ice skating because it could all end right now. And wouldn't you want to something? And he's like, okay, well.
And then he's like, I'm not going to interrogate you right now in his fake New York accent.
It did pop back up. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. We're really close to a bunch of hotels. Let's go get a room and fuck. He doesn't say that, but he says
He's paraphrasing.
He like goes through this huge thing about how he had a bad night with Susan Sarandon. He's feeling vulnerable, and she is too. And he says a whole bunch of stuff that in real life gets you fucking slapped. Your balls stomped on the way out.
Fly in 2018.
Wouldn't fly in 1989, but somehow they put it in this movie.
Yeah. So they go.
And they go and fuck.
They go to a
Cut
hotel.
to naked ladies.
Right. So, and they're in the midst of that, and they stop halfway through, and he's like, hold up. How old are you? What?
And she's like,
how old are you?
She's like 23, and
I'm 23, and he fucking freaks out.
He's like, oh my God, 23. And first of all, the first reaction I had to her saying I'm 23 was, come on now.
She's the oldest 23-year-old you'll ever see.
She's 30.
She's 35.
No, I checked on it. She was 30.
Was she 30? She looks every bit of it.
Also, here's a fun fact. For all the uncomfortable about the age difference stuff, Kevin Kline got married to hot 25-year-old Phoebe Cates the year this movie came out.
And he was what, 40?
Pretty fucking old.
Yeah. Yeah, because he'd already had like a 20-year career by this point.
Mostly stage, yeah.
Well, sure. He'd had like a 7-year movie career at this point or something like that. But yeah, he'd have to. He was into it. Like he's
Oh yeah, he doesn't mind.
mid-40s by then. So yeah, she says that she's 23, and he has like a weird freak out about her being 23, and so
Doesn't last long because then they go straight into fucking again.
no, that's it. He puts his pants on.
Okay, but they do have this. It's pretty clear that they have this entire conversation while he's inside of her.
Oh yeah,
Which is not the time. I
and
think.
then they shot the awkward like I just got to get out of you. And
Yeah,
then go put
they
my-
both have the little "I'm out of here" reaction. They're both like, and it's awful. It's awful.
Yeah, I don't know why.
And look, man.
So they went for realism on that, and he puts his pants on, and they fucking leave. And I'm like, holy shit! What are the people in the lobby thinking in this 5-star hotel, like clearly 4.5-star New York hotel they're in?
The mayor's daughter has been on the front page of every fucking newspaper that entire week. They know it's the mayor's daughter.
They just walk.
Where
into
are
this,
the cameramen?
They just walk into this hotel room to get a room for an hour, and like, because you got to go back down to the desk and be like, never mind.
But what comes after they leave the hotel together? They leave the hotel together. Where do they go?
They go to his apartment.
No.
Oh, they go to the police station.
He says something like, "I'm going to take you home."
Yeah, and she's like, I don't want to go home. Can I stay with you? And he's like, yeah, all right, let's get in a cab, and I'm going to go to the police station where everybody knows who you are.
Where you don't live.
Yeah.
For one thing.
And neither do I.
And then he fucking takes her to the scene of the crime of her friend's murder.
Yeah, he does. And she's fine with it.
Well, she starts getting emotional. He's like, maybe I shouldn't have brought you here. It's a mood-swinging fucking day. You go to your friend's funeral, and then you fuck a dude you don't know.
Yeah.
And then you go to the scene of the
crime.
crime.
He bails halfway through because you're too young for him. And so then he drags you along to the police station to pick up his weird artist friend, and you all go to the scene of a brutal murder of your best friend, at which point he says, hey, why don't you take her back to my place? It's a little awkward.
Right.
Yeah.
Pause.
Okay. So, what happens then, Steve? They go back to his apartment after that, or they do something else?
This is where we kind of get the film noir back on track. We go back to thriller.
Yeah.
Now that we've taken her back to the apartment where...
Because after an hour, he's finally on the trail of the killer.
Yeah, he finally decided to start working on it. Lucky for him, it's totally random, and there wasn't going to be a murder that week anyway.
Yeah. So, he goes to talk to Harvey Keitel.
Yes, they have this outdoor conversation, which is entirely ADR'd.
Yeah.
And it's great because if you watch Harvey Keitel's face, he's delivering his lines much calmer than he did in the booth doing the ADR. So you'll have shouts coming out of this calm man's mouth, and it's great. It's fantastic. He's like, I'm warning you. And in there, he's just like, I'm warning you. It's like, damn it, be a little consistent.
So they have an outdoor conversation, and then they see a fucking truck, and it says Blue Ribbon Beef, and Kevin Kline goes, fucking Blue Ribbon, I've got an idea. They all have blue ribbons. Blue Ribbon, it's like the mother favors one child. Harvey Keitel, I want to tell you something.
What a fucking stretch.
Mom loved me more.
I know you hate it, but Mom loved me more. I'm warning you. Don't you talk about Mom. Okay, I'll talk about how I fucked your wife. Don't you talk. I'm warning you.
And so Harvey Keitel leaves, and it's supposed to be like a swerve setup that you think oh, maybe Harvey Keitel's the Blue Ribbon killer.
Is that what I'm supposed to think? Because I don't know what I'm supposed to think.
That's kind of what you're supposed to think because they set up like
Harvey Keitel was the reason that
it's the heaviest, like it's super heavy-handed, but there's supposed to be like a setup of like, oh, maybe he's the killer.
I didn't get that at all. I was
Yeah.
bored by this long ass conversation.
Well, that's what I started thinking at that point too. I was like, oh, Harvey Keitel, he's the big name. Maybe he's the killer.
This is the thing. This is where we begin with one of the biggest problems of this movie, aside from tone.
Yeah.
You keep expecting somebody that you've seen to be the guy who's doing it.
Right. So then I think after that we cut to like the Mary Astronanos.
Yes, she's at his apartment.
She's at his apartment wearing just a t-shirt. And Susan Sarandon shows up with a bottle of wine, and
Who hasn't had enough disappointment from Kevin Kline apparently yet.
Yeah. So they have a throwaway conversation, and Susan Sarandon leaves the wine with her, and the girl takes the wine and just gets drunk.
And that's it. That's the whole thing.
Just gets day drunk.
Like I have no note. I know it happens. I have no notes because nothing happens. So that's when we start like putting the puzzle pieces together. Oh, he likes blue ribbons. Prime numbers. Prime numbers. He's killing on prime number days. Fine. And then
I think he has started hanging up pictures on the wall of like all the buildings.
yes, and he's counting windows and shit.
Yeah.
And then at some point, Danny Aeillo comes and says that you got to give me respect because I'm the captain. I'm not.
Yeah, he just goes
I'm
in
not
there
some
like,
monkey-do lieutenant.
Yeah.
Is his line. Monkey-do lieutenant.
He just goes in there and shows his dick for some reason.
You know what we don't say when we're like really heated and really pissed and we want to show you that we're pissed? We don't say do instead of shit. Monkey-do lieutenant. You're hilarious. Whatever momentum you had on this angry rant, you've lost it. Monkey-do lieutenant. I'm laughing. I'm laughing at you. Anyway.
So, yeah, and then we cut to like a dinner where Susan Sarandon, Harvey Keitel, and the mayor are sitting down having dinner.
For some reason.
They're having like cigars and brandy. And Harvey Keitel insults Susan Sarandon. So she says, oh, well, hey, you know what, mayor?
Oh, yeah? Mayor? Well, your daughter's fucking Kevin Kline. Like, wait. Who are you getting back at right now? You just taking everybody down with you because somebody made a crack at you?
This fucking like, in the original argument that Kevin Kline and Susan Sarandon have at their squid dinner in the beginning of the movie, he asks her about a check that was on his table that was
canceled check,
voided or whatever. And so, just to make sure that
it's supposed to be evidence that Harvey Keitel was the one who fucked him off the police force.
Yeah.
Like framed him for whatever.
Right. And it was like payoff money or something like that.
But we don't get enough of it to really give a shit.
Yeah.
And it never gets resolved either.
No, it never gets resolved. It never gets explained. But there's this whole thing about there was some corruption. And so they gave Kevin Kline a check to like shut his mouth. But he never cashed the check.
Right.
Or something. Who knows?
I don't know. I swear to God.
I don't
at
even know.
At least 30 minutes left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why they didn't just kill the entire storyline, but
I don't know.
They left like half of it in. They left the setup in and gave you no conclusion.
Yeah, there's just too much of it in there to take it out, I guess. Like it's too ingrained in the other scenes to get rid of it, I guess.
I don't think so. I think he could have cut it easily.
I guess.
They're called reshoots. Just get the people back together and reshoot it.
Yeah, there's nothing. Like, the only thing you had was like location costs.
Right.
In this movie, there's no special effects or anything.
So anyway, at this
point they get a phone call, or there's also like there's another murder going on.
Yes.
And so the
Also, at this point, it seems like Mary Elizabeth Mastroianni is deputized because she's just part of the investigation now.
yeah,
She's always there.
yeah.
What? Why is I'd be pissed if I was the mayor. You're gonna get my 23-year-old daughter. You're banging right in the line of fire.
So
Policeman who doesn't carry a gun.
yeah, with this dinner and like Kevin Kline and Alan Rickman are on the computer doing some police work, like mapping out the city or something like that. Trying to pinpoint the buildings that were used for the murder. There's another like murder happening or in progress, like the dude's in some lady's house waiting for her to come home.
Right.
And so she comes home and he grabs her and it's like it's sloppy and she's fighting and
He gets her though. He kills her.
he gets her. He does a great job. He does
He
all
does
right.
a great job.
Yeah.
You know, good job. Good job.
It was
Killer.
fine. It was fine. He could have been tighter.
Anyway, so he finishes this murder.
Yeah, he puts out a cigarette on the table.
He
and
has
then
himself a nice satisfied smoke.
Yeah.
And then he puts it out on her table and turns around and takes this fucking flying leap out the window.
He runs about 10 yards and then Superman's right out the window. And the trajectory of his Superman swanton bomb out this fucking window is going for the road. He should be going about probably 30 feet away from the building and landing on like a taxi in the middle of the road. But for some reason, he has a lot of gravity pull to him.
He's
so
fat.
He went
He's a fat guy.
fucking straight down.
Right into an awning,
Right
which he
into an
crashes
awning,
through,
yeah.
and he's an awesome. It's an amazing sight. He looks like a puppet on a string. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Also, I'd like to say,
Holding the blue ribbon the whole time.
do you know who plays this killer?
Jeff Ross.
I accidentally stayed through the credits,
Okay.
and he's billed as Pat for some reason.
Oh,
Just named Pat,
okay.
played by whose line is it anyways? Colin Mochrie.
No.
Yeah.
Weird.
It's the strangest thing. I don't know why. I don't know why Colin Mochrie, but there he is.
Wow, that's fucking retarded.
Yeah, I know. Go on. Or
I-
are you
I'm
taking
some-
time to
yeah,
process
I'm
that?
stuck on that now. What a what a weird thing for him to have in his demo reel.
Yep. It's like his third ever movie role or something like that.
All right, well, he got a career eventually doing something.
So
Um,
anyway, everybody arrives and they see this guy and they're all patting themselves on the
yeah,
back. Well,
like,
there he
oh,
is. That's a
yep,
fucking
He's
guy.
got the blue ribbon. That's it. It's over with. Fuck it. Got him.
I would have loved if they just hit the credits here. Like
Yep.
that was the solution of the movie. It had nothing to do with Kevin Kline.
It's almost as bad. Like
It's-
the actual
It's
ending
worse.
is
It's worse.
almost
It's the most
as bad.
disappointing thing in the world. Talk about the clash of comedy and thriller. It coming right to a head right there at the end. But we're not there yet.
Nope, we got about 20 more minutes. They're all patting themselves on the back, and Kevin Kline's not happy about it. He's like, no, this can't be right. There's got to be fucking more to it. And then the mayor sees his daughter, and he's like, you're banging dudes with mustaches all over the place. Get the fuck out of here before the press finally catches up to you.
Yeah.
Even though he should have been on to you like an hour ago. So
How dare a famous socialite, a locally famous socialite, be banging mid-40s men?
right.
That
So-
never happens.
So they and there's still like it's still like the heavy-handed like maybe Harvey Keitel's the guy. You never know. It could be Harvey Keitel. Why else would we have him?
Oh, we didn't need Sherlock Holmes to solve this one. Also, Kevin Kline, when he's explaining how this is probably not the guy, has this line where he's like, oh yeah, he feels so bad he jumps. But it's it's a weird line because he himself said at the beginning of the movie, like, he's probably, this next one, this January one, is his last one. He's probably going to stop.
Yeah.
What? So why wouldn't he jump? He's job well done, right?
I guess. So then Kevin Kline goes back and he's doing more police work. Fumbly, tumbly police work.
We're pissed in his apartment.
Oh, yeah, he quits. He says, that's it. That's the gig. And the Mary Swampaneno comes up and says, no, it's not it. There's got to be more to it.
No,
He
you're
says,
gonna
no. Look at this.
We're going to
glass
go to bed.
Scotch.
Yeah.
It's over.
And then he says this, the January man's going to get his January girl.
Yeah.
I love a good title line. This is not a good one. This sucks.
So they
just go to sleep. She talks him back into continuing the investigation. They just go to sleep.
Yeah, but he says like, nope, we got like 10 minutes ago. He said, oh, we've got 24 hours. He's gonna kill somebody definitely tomorrow. And she's like, and then later he's like, nope, it's done. He's gonna kill somebody tomorrow. And she's like, no, got a good night's rest.
We don't have anything urgent going on.
Really take away the stress. Like, let's just get a good night's sleep and we'll catch him tomorrow.
I guess.
And so
we go back to the precinct.
Yeah, and so Kevin Kline's basically trying to predict a serial killer's murder, where he's going to murder him, what time, like what building, and so they go through the whole thing like, oh, well, he's only murdering them on prime number days. Like, how many prime numbers are there in 30?
They map out the buildings on this fucking ColecoVision bullshit.
Yeah, I don't
Alan
remember
Rickman does.
Why the building. Did the buildings make any sense?
Yes, they map out all the buildings.
It's a constellation.
And which one's missing? And it's like Virgo or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
they fucking they actually went and sat in planetarium.
Right. To clear their minds or some shit.
And stared at constellations because that's what he thought was going to happen. So he's piecing it together that way. But
and then
they fucking sit there, talk about nothing, leave.
We get this map. Alan Rickman does the map of the city up, and he maps out all these buildings where all the crimes occurred, and then he takes the city away.
Right.
And then he organizes the little dots where the buildings were. It's music. So it's music. It's music. It's astronomy.
Yep.
Prime numbers.
Right.
Too much.
Yeah. And calendars, like the month.
That's the music.
Yeah, one day a month, and then they like da 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 da.
They sing this out at each other.
Yeah.
Bum 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 bum. They bum at each other like they bum 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 at each other forever.
Neither one of them singing like bumming the tune of Calendar Girl either. Neither of them.
Nope. Just bumming.
Yeah, bum 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 my little calendar girl.
And then they both get somber looks on their face. And I'm like, dude, was that a joke? Was the length of time that took to get around to Calendar Girl, was that a joke? I'm totally missing the humor here.
So they have figured out the missing constellation building. They figured out what the next note in Calendar Girl is going to be.
And the apartment number going by the windows.
Yep. So they go there and they stake it out. And they all get like a broom closet across the hall. And Alan Rickman brought an assortment of cakes and wine to get
Pringles.
Pringles, a carrot cake.
Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts. And a bottle of wine. Like all these things that if I ate them, I would be napping.
Yeah, my note is just I've definitely done worse for dinner.
These are go-to-sleep foods. Like carbs, sugars, cakes, and then have a nice glass of wine. I'd be asleep in an hour.
I have another good note here that's Can you imagine being the producer and seeing the rough cut, like seeing the first rough cut of this movie? Can you imagine what the reaction would be? Oh my God, I'd fucking jump out of a building.
The January man shows up and gets into the room, and
they've set up Mary Elizabeth
with a neck protector.
Yeah, some
thingy,
weird neck brace.
So he goes in there, and then they're waiting, and then like the lady that lives there comes home, so they fucking kidnap her and scare the shit out of her, and they're like, "There's some guy in there who's gonna murder you."
And she passes out like they leave her with Alan Rickman while they go try to catch the calendar man, but she passes out, but she wakes up, and then Alan Rickman they make fuck eyes at each other.
Yeah.
The lady who lives in that apartment. I don't quite know what's going on in that broom closet.
So they send in Mary Smith-Newman, and she goes in and she gets hooked with a blue ribbon, and then but she's not going to die because she's got the neck protector on, so they just struggle for a while. And Kevin Kline is trying to break down the door with a sledgehammer, but he's like gently rapping at the door like he's never handled a sledgehammer in his life, because he's gently like
So why don't you
okay, and it's all
anyway, he gets in. Let's just cut to the chase.
But
who's the January man, Paul? Who was it?
A nobody.
A guy in blackface.
Oh yeah.
With a little fro wig on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's nobody. The actor's nobody.
There's nobody. It's fucking nobody. It's nobody important, and it will never ever be anybody important.
Nope.
Ever. It's never explained who he is.
No. They say at the end that Kevin Kline says, "That's why he got away with it. He's nobody. He's nobody." Somebody asked, well, "Who was it?"
Yeah.
He's nobody. That's the thing. He's nobody. It's like, well, fuck you, screenwriter, saying that directly to me.
So Kevin Kline had his gun taken away because he's no longer in the police force.
Right.
So they got rid of him because they caught the original killer, and they fucking hate Kevin Kline. So they're like, well, you're done being a policeman, but if you find the actual dude, give us a call and we'll help you. And so she's in there struggling, and he's outside tapping at the door with a sledgehammer, and it's super 80s, yelling back and forth, and he can't get in the door.
Yeah, it's real wacky. And then we have a wacky fight. We have a wacky fight between the January nobody and Kevin Kline.
Kevin Kline gets in
down all the stairs
and
from way up in this high rise.
Hold it right there. I don't have a gun, but you're under arrest. And January man's like, I'm fucking out of here.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
So he tries to barrel through him, and then they get in just the silliest fight.
Again, wackiness with this serial killer.
80s cartoon physics. And there's jokes aplenty. And
while this is going on, somebody makes a call to the police force that Kevin Kline's got the real guy.
Yeah. So they come barreling down there, and Susan Sarandon shows up for no reason.
Yep. And that's it. She turns the check back over to Kevin Kline. I guess we're okay.
Here's the check for that story that
we're not worried about anymore.
We're not worried about. It's not really a part of the story, but this is going to clear your name.
And probably get Harvey Keitel canned.
Right, and maybe the mayor fired and arrested, but that's not what this movie's about. This movie's about something else.
This is about the glorified extra we hired to play our big killer.
In blackface, yeah. And Kevin Kline's big fucking end of the movie is like, oh, can I get an espresso? Credits.
Hoo-ha. I'm laughing my ass off over here.
Credits.
So this is a shitty movie that's so weird that I still view it every once in a while. To be like, did that exist? I had to check in on that again.
It's not even that it existed. It's the fucking cast that they got for this fucking movie.
It's a great cast. I'm telling you.
It's incredible.
That Moonstruck
Alan
guy.
Rickman, Harvey Keitel, Kevin Kline, Susan Sarandon, Danny Aiello, Colin Mochrie. Like, the cast is phenomenal. But what the fuck was this movie about? I
just don't
it got to the end and he said I could really go for an espresso, and I was like, okay, well, surely we're gonna find out about like the police corruption, or there's gonna be like a montage of like the mayor is this and that, but the janitor man, and we got him, but the mayor's in trouble for corruption, and nope.
No, none of that happens.
Roll
We're not worried
credits.
about it.
I'm going back to be a firefighter.
Thanks for watching the January Man.
And what did you say Siskel or Ebert said about it?
Oh, Roger Ebert said in the
One of the worst movies of all time.
one of the worst movies of all time, which is an overstatement. It's not one of the worst movies of all time. It is a fucking ungodly mess, though.
The January Man is worth study as a film that fails to find its tone. It's all over the map. It wants to be zany but violent, satirical but slapstick, romantic but cynical. It wants some of its actors to rant and rave like amateur tragedians, and others to reach for subtle nuances. And it wants all these things to happen at the same time. And then, let's see, there's one more. I'm just trying to bring back Steve for the grand finale. Rita Kempley of the Washington Post. Elliot called April the cruelest month, but then he hadn't seen the January Man. Billed as a mystery with romance and comedy. Billed as a mystery with romance and comedy, it is a damp sock of a movie that makes you wish for a leap year.
I think damp sock is what they write in high-class newspapers like the Washington Post when they want to write wet fart.
Yeah, damp sock.
Oh, I missed Danny Aiello's best line in this movie.
Yeah.
He's on the way to the building where the January Man is fighting Kevin Kline. He's like, "Get me a car and get me the fuck there." And then he's way down the hall. He's like, "Get the fuck out of my way." It's the only laugh I had in the entire movie. Like he's out of the shot. Get the fuck out of my way. Oh, Danny Aiello, you should have been the lead of this movie. Might have worked. No, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, I'm annoyed that there's no way to find out the budget for this movie, because all your budget was burned on the actors, on just paying salaries.
Well, and location shooting. It ain't cheap to shoot around New York.
No. We did it.
So that's the fucking January Man. My
We
last
did
note
it.
is, before the Colin Mochrie thing, I mean, my real last note was, I am so sorry for picking this movie, because it sucks. It's everything Roger Ebert
Which
said.
you texted me before I watched the movie.
I said it right. I sent it right to you. I was like, I'm sorry, I picked the January Man. Now, that wasn't like, we don't have to do the January Man if you haven't watched it yet, because I fucking watched it and took notes. You're watching it. So that was an experience. Thanks for joining us.